right, now we're going to do elimination, and elimination is one of my favorites. You can use elimination for every type of problem, and it is not bad, okay? We want to use elimination generally when x and y's are on the same side of the equation for both equations. All right, so the point being, you are literally going to add up the two equations. You're going to add up the two equations, and your hope is that you eliminate one of your variables. So we're going to add up, going down, we're going to add up our x's, so we get 8x. We're going to add up our y's, and we get 0y. And then we're going to go ahead and add up the constants, and we get 16. And what elimination does is it allows me to solve for one variable at a time. So you see that your y's went away, so that's 0y, so you get 8x equals 16, and now I can solve for the variable that's left. So we divide both sides by 8, and we get x equals 2. And now what do I do with that? Well, I want to know what y is. The solution to my system the intersection is going to happen where x equals 2. So what I'm going to do with that is kind of the same thing I did with substitution. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it back into one of my x's. I'm going to choose an equation. I'm going to choose the bottom equation. And the reason I'm going to do that is because they're smaller numbers. So the nice thing about this is I can choose any of those two equations. Oops. And I can choose whichever one I find to be the easiest. So I'm going to go ahead and do the 3 times x plus 2y equals negative 6. Notice I plugged my 2 in. And now I have 6 plus 2y equals 6, negative 6. And you go ahead and solve it the way that you would any old linear equation. So I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides. I get negative 12. Divide by 2, and I get negative 6. Now remember, this is a solution to a system, so we have to write our solution in a coordinate point. So our solution is 2, negative 6. Okay, now take a look at the next equation. Remember, we want to add the two equations up. And when I do that, I get 12x minus 3y equals 19. Now that's bad because I didn't eliminate anything. Okay, so when it doesn't eliminate, we want to manipulate. So when it doesn't eliminate, we want to manipulate. What do we want to manipulate? We want to change the two equations by using a factor. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to choose either x or y to get rid of. Now I'm going to go ahead and choose y. And the reason I'm going to choose y to get rid of is because I noticed that y has opposite signs. So when I add opposites, I know that they might cancel each other out. Okay? But they're not the same. They're not the same magnitude. We're learning this in physics, right? Equal and opposite forces. They're not the same, so I need to make them the same. So the way I'm going to make them the same is I'm going to use a factor. I'm going to multiply the top equation by 2, and the bottom equation I'm going to multiply by 5. So we're literally magnifying these two equations. We're making them bigger by multiplying them. And you do the same thing you would in distributing. You're going to distribute the 2 on the top, and you're going to get out a new scale of the same equation. So at 8x minus 10y is equal to 48. And then the bottom equation, you're going to get out 15x plus 10y equals negative 25. Now the nice thing about this is we're going to go ahead and we're going to add these two equations up, and we see that when I add the x's up, I get 23x. When I add the y's up, I get a 0y. That's what I wanted. And then lastly, we add up the constants, and we get 23. So now we have a new equation, 23x equals 23. The y went away. Divide both sides by 23 and you get x to equal 1. So it turns out to be a very friendly answer. Again, what do I do with that? Well, I take that x and I put it back in to one of the original equations. Okay? You get to choose which equation. I'm going to choose the smaller of the two, and I'm going to plug it into the x on the 3. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to go 3 times 1 plus 2y is equal to negative 5. 3 times 1 is 3. And I go about solving this the way I do every problem. And I get 2y is equal to negative 8. Divide by 2, and I get negative 4. So there you have it. Your elimination method. Remember, we write our answer as a coordinate.